Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And it's a Monday, and you guys know what that means. It means we are going to be answering some mail. You guys have sent us in some questions, and there are some great ones today. But we also have a great panel to go through them with. Firstly, he's back after a few days off. We have Clark. Clark, in 20 seconds, give me your reaction to what happened at SmackDown between The Rock and Cody Rhodes this week.
I dug it in only one way, and that was it was awkward for Cody. So it tickled me in that sense. It was awkward. The whole thing was awkward because of the post stuff. I don't even know. I don't want to get too deep into it. 20 seconds is not quite enough time, but I'm stoked to be back, Ben.
He wants his soul, Clark. That's what he wants. He wants his soul. Well, but will he get
I think he wants
soul?
The oh is what he really wants at the beginning of the song. Yeah, that's what he really wants.
There's so much adrenaline in Cody's soul that Rock's like, I need that adrenaline to stay young. Fair enough. Good. It's a good mentality to have. Numero 1 Superfly says hello. Hello to you too, Numero 1. And we have Fernando in the chat as well. Shout out to you. But we also have our head of reviews, Coby Galenzoski. How are you today, Coby?
I'm doing pretty good, of course. I'm back for the second day in a row, and it's one of my creations, of course. I gotta plug it every single time I can. It's Mailbag Monday. We're talking about what the fans want to talk about, and it's always a pleasure to do so. There's a lot of questions on the side as we see, and of course, it's always going to be a fun show. 3 OGs here.
Absolutely. To be fair, I don't think, you get a lot of credit for the review system, and rightfully so, but I don't think generally the general public give you enough credit for creating a mailbox.
I was going to say he also created Waza and Nike, and he came up with Is It In You for Gatorade. Like, Coby's got a lot of lists of great ideas. Long list.
But will one of Triple H's ideas be Becky Lynch at the Elimination Chamber? Because our first question today is from @Melissa.Robinson05 over on Instagram, who is asking, will Becky Lynch return at Elimination Chamber? Now, I predicted this. I predicted actually exactly this early on after the Rumble. I said, well, Becky must be returning for the Chamber. But as time's gone by, I've actually become less confident. But the big issue is, who is going to win that chamber to face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania? Because I'm not entirely sure anybody who's in that chamber currently, with the storylines at least making sense, could challenge Rhea Ripley. Whereas if Becky was to suddenly replace somebody, or for them to randomly do a 7-person chamber on the night, maybe they could make it make sense. Clark, I want to get your thoughts on this.
I think Becky Lynch would be an awesome opponent for Rhea Ripley. I think her returning in front of a really hot crowd in Toronto would be outstanding. It's a hard maybe for me, and most likely no, if I'm being realistic. I don't think Becky Lynch is coming back at the Elimination Chamber. I don't think that's in the cards. I do agree with your sentiments about the matchup itself headed to Mania. What are we going to get out of this chamber? I don't see that Becky returns here. I think she returns elsewhere. I don't know if she's in a hurry to return as much as we're in a hurry for her to return. And that's kind of where I'm at mentally. I'm not sure she's in such a rush. And so I don't see a reason for her to return at the chamber.
Fair enough. We know obviously she was at that Netflix press event. She was photographed there, but you might be right. She's got so many things going on, her box out, all of that. So perhaps she doesn't even need to return. Of course, currently in the Elimination Chamber match, it's Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, Bailey, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Are any of those a WrestleMania match for Rhea
Well, I mean,
Ripley with no belt?
Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley could be a match if it wasn't for the
It
fact
could
that she's
be.
tied up in a different storyline, and we're going
Yeah.
to get onto a segment about her later. That's easy. Alexa Bliss is fine too. There's no doubt.
Yeah, but then why did they move
There
her to
are
SmackDown?
choices. I'm thinking we've we've fantasy booked quite a few multi-person world title matches at Mania. I think this Rhea Ripley one deservedly should be a whether it's a fatal
But it
four-way
can't be.
or a triple threat or something.
There's an elimination chamber to find the one person.
I get that. And then it's pro wrestling, Ben.
I
We can do whatever we want. We can do whatever we want, Ben. And I think that's the answer to this entire equation, because it also makes whoever wins the elimination chamber can work that angle where it's like, how do I not get the singles match? They're the underdog. You can get the fans behind them, whatever it may be, right? Like that still does exist. Just the old school psychology there.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're not wrong. They have done that before. Wrestling companies do stuff like that. But the two names on there which really stand out to me is firstly Liv Morgan. Obviously, her and Rhea have feuded all year, but I don't think anybody actually wants to see them have a match again, really. Yeah. The other one,
I mean,
is
the biggest
with
one with Liv Morgan. The biggest one with Liv Morgan is if she was still champion and Rhea had to challenge her at WrestleMania. I think that's when it was like, okay, yes, we extended it. We took this to WrestleMania. Rhea's going to win at WrestleMania. It would make sense. But the fact of the matter is, from Rhea's standpoint, she already got what she wanted. She got the title back. It doesn't make sense to continue this, because then it's like, okay, well, yes, there's stuff to work with there. It's undeniable that we can't build off of it, but it's like, well, it doesn't feel like a step forward. It feels like, okay, put it this way, Rhea won the title, and then it got interesting with Nia Jax, and then it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go right back to Liv Morgan in a month.
Yeah,
like that would be bad. That's what irks me there.
But
Bailey's
I mean, the other one
teased,
out of those six names is what Saul said to me. Roxanne Perez. That's the other one which I'm like, okay, it's something new, it's something fresh. So I think that would work quite well. And then maybe you mentioned Bailey yesterday, Coby. Maybe they find a way to do a multi.
Yeah. The thing is, I think if you go Bailey, then you actually have two options. You can do Rhea Ripley and Bailey, or you can literally do Rhea Ripley, Bailey, and Io. You play with the Bailey
Io Sky is the one that I think it's funny. Like everyone was all over that post Rumble.
Yeah. Why do we have to get Roxanne? Put it this way, no, they're not. What have they done?
Yeah,
what have they done? What have they done since Vengeance Day?
No, Bailey and Roxanne are feuding.
What have they done since Vengeance Day?
Since Vengeance Day, I have no idea. I swear they had an
exactly.
I swear on last night's. Not last night. I swear on last week's Raw. What's happened with Clark? Clark's disappeared. Anyway, thankfully though, it's your take, Coby. So let me know. Will Becky return at the Chamber?
No, she's not. And I mean this is the thing, and it sucks that we're all agreeing, but it's the fact of the matter is we just don't see it happening. There's no way for Becky Lynch to sit here, and it makes sense that she would return. Yes, we don't really know if they have a Mania match in mind for her. If she doesn't, she can return after. But the tough part is this is determining Rhea's next contender. This is determining who's in the title, the world title picture with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, whether that be any of the 6 women we already mentioned. I just don't think Becky Lynch returns. I don't see it happening at the Chamber. I do think she'll return eventually in probably this calendar year, but it's at the point where like the odds of it for me has just, okay, yeah, it's probably not happening. Maybe a couple weeks ago I would said, yeah, maybe they would do it, but if Becky Lynch was in the title picture, if it was Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley too, you would have already started that. To me,
yeah,
you have it's a rematch in the making. You had it a year ago, but you still would have started that build. You would have started it and got the ball running, got the vehicle started. And if I'm using that analogy, and the fact that she's not back makes me think she probably isn't going to do WrestleMania. And I mean, I'm fine with it. That's the thing. There's a lot of stars, and we experimented with it yesterday, predicting the card, and it's like, well, this guy didn't make the card. It's like, yeah, that's the nature of the beast at this point. And at this point, we really don't need Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, and I don't think she will be this year.
I am leaning more towards agreeing with you, Coby. I really am. Like you said, it's such a stacked card. There's so many people on that brand in that women's division
Such
as
a loaded
well.
roster. Yeah.
It is. Like if I was Becky, and I do think this is probably Becky's mentality, to come in with just a few weeks to go until WrestleMania and suddenly, I don't want to say take someone's space because maybe it was always her space. But like, if you're going to do a return, I'd say do the return at the Rumble. So at least, you have a couple of months to really, be around and really start building some quality TV. We do have a couple of comments I want to get to.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, like I used the analogy, if we're using a storyline as a vehicle, you would have already started that vehicle by now.
Yes.
That's what I feel.
There's so much to tell as well. You are right. Numero 1 agrees with us. He says, unfortunately, I don't see Becky Lynch returning at Elimination Chamber. Plus, what would she do there? She's either returning after WrestleMania or after Elimination Chamber to face Lyra. No disrespect to Becky, as I am a fan of hers, but I'd rather her return with some sort of plan than rather than her returning for the sake of returning. I mean, surely she'd win the chamber if she returned.
Surely that's what she'll do. She ain't gonna just pull. They're not gonna pull the trigger on Becky Lynch returning. I mean, I said it before. I don't know if I said it on the Daily a couple months ago, but my idea is if you were going to do Rhea and Liv at WrestleMania, you could have did a mini program with Liv and Becky before getting back to Liv and Rhea, with Liv and Becky being a Rumble title defense. Give Liv another victory because you already had Becky Lynch get taken out by Dom, and that was the last thing we saw her on WWE programming. So there was already almost a written pathway to do that little mini feud before returning to Liv and Rhea. But of course, Rhea won the title, and they went with the safe option. They went with a logical option, but like we're at the point where I'm personally more entertained by Liv anyway at this point. Still, and it's
what's
Rhea done other than face Nia Jax?
She's interesting every time she's been on screen. She just hasn't been given much to do. The exact same thing with Liv. She gets given nothing to do either, really. I mean, she's in the tag stuff now, but
she's been on TV.
It's obvious it's not her. It's obvious it's Naomi.
No, it's obvious it's not her. I'm just saying I've been more
Bianca
by what Liv has done since losing the title than what Rhea's done since winning the title.
We have a couple more comments I want to quickly read out. We have D6 Warlord saying push Io or Roxanne. I agree. And also saying Omos versus Moose versus Obafemi at Stand and Deliver for both championships. Yes, please. And Shard said,
$1 billion is steep.
Pardon?
I said $1 billion is steep.
I haven't read out the comment yet.
Sorry,
Spotify listeners. I spoke with Becky last year, Shard says, and she said, I am the GOAT podcaster here and will return when I get paid $1 billion from WR. So, yeah, unfortunately, Becky Lynch has retired.
It's gonna take some time.
Jon Roca is saying, if Becky returns at Chamber, I see her attacking Liv, but I don't see that happening right now. And Soul says, watch me be right about Roxanne, and I will do a happy dance on the daily. What's Soul's happy dance like, do you reckon?
Oh, it's definitely Scottish.
It starts with the removal of his tie. We'll start that.
A dance which starts with the removal of the... That's not PG in the words of our truth.
What?
J Money 17 says, I think Becky will replace Naomi for Elimination Chamber and go from there. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to make my prediction after tonight, I reckon. That's what I'm going to do. But let's move on now to the next topic, shall we? Because the next topic is from at S3 The Pro. not to be confused with C-3PO. But I will say this. C-3PO has more brain cells despite the fact he is a robot than the person who submitted this question, because the statement is actually hot take: Bianca Belair is overrated. You know what, Clark? You've been gone for a few days. I'm sure you've got some steam to unload. So just go ahead and unload it.
Why would you even say hot take when it's so cold? I mean, I can't decide if it's a silly question or a ridiculous statement or a little bit of both. What in the world are you talking about? Talking about the main event of WrestleMania 37? Did an outstanding job there. Literally started training professional wrestling in the Performance Center. Is as good as anybody in the business. They don't make athletes like Bianca Belair. And the WWE doesn't get to sign athletes like Bianca Belair often. She's charismatic. She's safe, athletic, entertaining. She's not only not overrated, she's underrated. You must be joking. You must have been just trying to like fire somebody up or something. I don't understand how you could possibly even fathom her being overrated in any way. She's overlooked consistently and then proves people wrong consistently. And that's not even her gimmick. That's just what she does in real life, period. And it happens all the time. You go back to her Division I track record and then look at what she did at Tennessee. This is a world-class athlete, a world-class performer, a world-class entertainer in every single way. We should be thankful that we get to see Bianca Belair work day in and day out for the WWE as good as she is. It is absolutely unfathomable to me how you could possibly think that Bianca Belair of all of the professional wrestlers in the world is overrated in any way.
And the comments are agreeing with you. We've got Fernando saying, hell no, Bianca is one of the best women's wrestlers of all time. And Shard says, to say Bianca Belair is overrated is truly the dumbest thing I heard today. That woman has the trajectory to be one of the greatest of all time. She is elite. And numero one backing that up too, saying Bianca Belair is not overrated. Bianca Belair is fantastic. And DCX Warlord says fairly rated as well. But not everybody agrees. Eric Rodriguez says Bianca Belair is in dire need of a character change. She's been in the same storyline for years.
I do think that's fair, and I think it's also possible that she's the one that attacked Jade. And I wouldn't mind that at all because she played a great heel in NXT, and people forgot about that. People forgot all about that. She was not a babyface until the main roster. She played an outstanding heel. And that is absolutely in the cards.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think she's the one who did it, though, because, again, these Naomi teases, I'll be fuming if we find out it's Bianca purely off the fact of it's been so badly written, because they could have not made it any more obvious that Naomi, every single time somebody mentions Jade being attacked, jumps in to cut the other person off mid-sentence. It's every single promo. I've noticed
looks
it now.
The most nervous.
Yeah, but why would you jump in halfway through the sentence? And she does it with nothing else, just that.
Because she's the one that's the most accused.
No.
It does make sense.
It's Naomi.
She's the one that's the most. She has the most to lose.
Yeah, it is one of them. It's a 50% chance for either. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Naomi is also somebody who I think actually, like Bianca Belair, I think just needs a change of scenery post his storyline. I don't think she necessarily needs a gimmick change. Naomi, I think, needs a gimmick change.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Although she's not been it's not been glow Naomi for a while. Like, yes, she still does like glow related things, but like gimmick wise, she's kind of just been herself. So like, if it is a gimmick change, I think it'd have to be more of a change of attitude because I don't necessarily.
It needs the heel turn.
Yeah,
she is the one.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
I'd love for Naomi to like lead a faction, and we find out that like maybe, I mean, a lot of people are saying that maybe the Meta 2 join Naomi, and they're the ones who took out Jade Cargill because they were also on the show that day.
I wouldn't hate that, but I mean, I still think I think Bianca actually would benefit just as much. I think.
True.
I think.
I
it's
mean,
Bianca.
she's such a big
You weren't on
baby
that
face,
show.
though, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody spoke about it on an episode a couple of weeks ago of WR Daily, and they said that Bianca's such an idol for so many,
And it was
young
shot a
kids
while
out
That
there.
ago.
would have been
Yeah,
To bring
shot,
that up. Yeah, it's true.
Is it really worth turning her heel when, again, I don't think anybody's bored of her
I think
gimmick.
it is
it's
because I
just
don't
the
think it's a
situation.
long-term thing. I think it's a short-term thing to tell a quick
But
story.
this is what I was saying about Cody Rhodes, though, yesterday, right? For like adults, yeah, sure, we can get over somebody going from a heel back to a face. That's fine. But for kids, that might be a little bit more of a hurdle. You're not going to have Bianca as over
Yeah.
as a babyface again, probably. At least
That's true.
for the long, foreseeable future.
That is a very good point. And like the scorned thing, like you said, for the younger audience is tougher to overcome that mountain.
Yeah. And Eric Rodriguez says Ballet as a babyface is extremely marketable. No doubt about it. Absolutely. And Shard
I
says
thought
Bianca
Eric
is a
was the one that
better
said he
babyface than
needed
Cody.
that we needed the character change though too. Eric, make up your mind, dang it. I'm kidding.
Both can
Hold
be
on,
right.
hold on, my
She
friend.
can stay a
Both can be
face
right.
while
They're
having a
two
character change.
It's two conversations.
Yeah, I know. I was
Both
laughing.
can be true at once. What if Jada Parker attacked Jade Cargill, says D6 Warlord?
That'd be wild.
Out there, shout, but I don't mind it at all. But what I also don't mind is Demand Progress Plus. And in case you guys don't know about Demand Progress, let me talk to you. Because they have started announcing the Super Strong Style 16 today, and they have got Noah Stars, Pro Wrestling Noah Stars, involved in it too this year. I think it's May 4th it's going to be on, and it's my favorite tournament of the year, especially in UK wrestling, Super Strong Style 16. But they've got quite a few events before then as well, and they had a banger of an event this past weekend with Miko completely bought that, sorry. Miko Satomura's final UK match, which is just absolutely fantastic against Rio as well. Check that out if you haven't, and you can check it out on Demand Progress Plus, and you can use code WatchProgress1 to get 50% off on your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy, and more. Once again, use code WatchProgress1 to get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy, and more. Truly a great streaming service. I could not recommend it enough. Now let's move on to talk about the next question. Actually, but before we do, we got a couple of comments here too. Eric Rodriguez says, babyface / heel, feeling a bit bipolar, like The Rock's promo on SmackDown, lol. Fair enough on that one. But this next question comes from JMoney17, who says, hot take, I think Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens should have been a WrestleMania match. And of course, this is something which for the longest time I thought was going to happen. I thought they were leading to KO versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, and Randy Orton was going to return as a heel at Elimination Chamber, win Elimination Chamber, then turn heel on Cody Rhodes, leading to Cody versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Obviously, highly unlikely that's going to happen now. So, while basically I agree with you, J-Money. That's the bottom line. I agree with you. I think they should have done that, but the fact is they did not do that. Coby, what is your thoughts?
The thing is I share the same sentiment as it could have been. If they wanted it, they very much could have made that the match. They could have had that package pile driver take Sami Zayn out until the chamber, realistically. The biggest thing is you just had the biggest thing is the Randy Orton effect at this point. The Randall Keith Orton effect that is like, okay, well, this guy has to either return and turn heel, which made no sense. And I want to say we're in the Logic era because a lot of things are thought out.
It would make sense. It's Randy
No,
Orton.
it wouldn't. Kevin Owens tried to end his career with a package pile driver. What is he going to return and start going? Yeah, Kevin's right.
Cody took about 5 minutes to save him.
You would still go for Randy Orton for trying to end your career. Or like, what is it going to make sense? Randy Orton's heel and then Kevin Owens is like both can't be heel and have a feud. That makes no sense. It was at the end of the day, it was an overlying kind of factor between the two of them. They could have done Randy Orton and Kevin Owens at Chamber. if they wanted. The biggest thing is the Rumble was set up for run-ins. We were set up to have Sami Zayn ringside. I was expecting Randy Orton to appear at the Rumble during the ladder match, and then you could have did something. Something could have happened. He could have helped Cody Rhodes win. He could have done something to spite Randy Orton. Then you could have did the pile driver. Then it would have been, okay, well, Randy Orton's back, and Kevin Owens is mad. That you could have lined it up. You could have had that be the chamber match. But then the question is, where does where would Randy go after? There's so many layers to think about, and I think it's a discussion that is vital. It's a very vital discussion for WWE officials, for the creative team to go, okay, where does this make sense? And they're gonna, if I'm gonna use a diagram, they're gonna use a mind map. Okay, this is a conversation. This is a conversation. And they're going to have so many conversations and topics surrounding it where I'm sure a couple people said, yeah, that makes sense as a Mania match. But obviously Randy Orton's here. I think it like that's the thing. It could have been a Mania match, but at this point it probably isn't. And I'm fine with it because Randy Orton needs to be a part of WrestleMania. He's Randy frickin' Orton, and he deserves it. He's one of the last of the few from the Ruthless Aggression that still can go, and he's great in the ring. And I am excited about the Randy Orton Kevin Owens match. I was excited for it to be Crown Jewel, and then they had the brawl. Well, that never happened yet, but I'm still excited for it to be as a whole because guess what? They are great psychology wrestlers. They both know how to sell. They both know how to tell emotions through their facial expressions to show pain. And I think that's what makes me excited. I don't think Randy Orton, Kevin Owens has to be a stipulation match at WrestleMania. And I hope they aren't just given a singles match, but there's no way to go up since we're already at an unsanctioned match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
You are right there. That's the giveaway.
But Coby, you had the perfect opportunity. You're the only Canadian at Wrestling Republic to be like, no, of course it shouldn't be at Mania. They're the two best Canadian wrestlers in all of wrestling. Of course they should be on the card in Toronto, the biggest show in the country of Canada. And you just left that untouched. You just left that. That would have been the easiest route to this. It's logical. It makes perfect sense. We have the two best Canadian wrestlers walking the planet on the biggest card that will be wrestled in Canada this calendar year. It's real simple in that regard.
Thanks for
doing it. Could it be a Mania match? 1,000%. Yeah, of course. I got your back there, Cobe. Could it be a Mania match? Of course it could. It's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. But this makes a lot of sense logically because guess which crowd is going to be the hottest for the two biggest Canadians? The Canadian one.
You're not wrong, but you could have done a singles match in Canada and the unsanctioned or whatever this is at Mania.
Canada can't sanction the two biggest Canadians.
Randy doesn't. Randy's busy with Cody. We've established this.
If they had to sanction this match in Canada, it'd be far too political, eh? Sorry about it.
Numero one says, part of me says yes, but at the same time, it makes sense to do Sami Kevin at Chamber. Personally, it should have been a 3 stages of hell between the two. Absolutely, numero one. Shard agrees as well. And Eric says that Coby is dropping some knowledge here. Is it just me, or does my man look like a babyface Kevin Owens with glasses?
Yes.
But now let's move on.
Coby, put that in your Bumble profile.
Celebrity look like Kevin Owens. Oh,
Kevin Owens plus glasses.
Right, this next question is from Flippin' Heck. This is a difficult name to read out. From @so.__._AJ._yo.
I'm glad he threw in that second dot.
Is that Morse code?
It might as well be. But if somebody asks you, oh, hi, mate, how are you? You know, it's nice meeting you today. How can I add you on Instagram? How are you going to tell them that? How are you going to do it?
check out all the punctuation in the middle of it.
It's the only time I think that QR code thing Instagram does, which nobody knows about, might come in handy.
That
is
does
if you've
work.
got a name like that. Just change the username. Anyway, his statement is a hot take, and that is that Jey Uso doesn't have to main event WrestleMania this year. Now, this is something which Sol got a lot of heat for on the show yesterday. He said that, so not Sol, Coby got a lot of heat for it because he said Jey Uso and Gunther should not main event, or he doesn't predict they'll main event night 1, and instead he predicts they'll kick off night 2. And I said, as soon as you said it, Coby, I agree. That's what they'll do. Either night 1 or night 2, they'll kick it off. WrestleMania winners aren't always, Royal Rumble winners aren't always the main event of WrestleMania. But, Clark, do you think this year with the story between him and Gunther winning the Royal Rumble, should Gunther versus Jey Uso main event?
So I hate to be this guy, but early last week, I had this very same conversation and said that the answer is that it's the curtain jerker one of the 2 nights. And I predicted night 1 personally. And that was before this even became another spin around topic. I still believe that to be the case. I mean, the Rumble winner thing, I love the idea of the Rumble winner main eventing WrestleMania. I get that. I understand also we just told, Cody's story. So, like, he had to main event and whatnot. But if you look back in history, Shawn Michaels' first Rumble win, didn't really turn out so hot as far as main eventing is concerned because he didn't main event. And then you have the same exact thing with Austin's first Rumble win. It's happened often. Vince McMahon won the Rumble, was not in the main event. Right? Like it wouldn't be the first time. It probably won't be the last time. I love the idea of the Rumble winner getting the main event. I don't have a problem with this being the opener for either show on the card, though, because it makes a lot of sense. And it's the 3rd and 4th best spots on the WrestleMania card are the night 1 and 2 openers. So it's going to be one of those 2. And I don't see the issue with it.
I do think they should probably start rewording it now, right? It very much is a Vinceism to say the main event of WrestleMania when they win the Royal Rumble. I think, because it sounds just as good realistically, they should just say they've booked their spot on the WrestleMania card in a championship match, a championship fight at the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. Yeah. That
would be
sounds just as good.
Solution. It does.
Just as good.
I don't think that using the main event phrasing is the end of the world, though. Like, we're getting nitpicky
Nor do
here.
I, but
and
it's
truthfully, like,
for people who
the opening match is so
fools everyone.
Mania is such a the pageantry of WrestleMania is such a big deal. Like, the main event, some of the most memorable matches at WrestleMania of all time were not main events. Undertaker main evented WrestleMania far less often than he won at WrestleMania. Let's remember that. And he's outside of maybe Shawn Michaels, he's the most memorable Mania performer of all time. So, and Shawn didn't main event it all the time either.
I mean, literally, those two against each other is one of the biggest WrestleMania matches of all time at WrestleMania 25, and that didn't main event.
And think about Undertaker Kane as well. Add that one to the list. Shawn and Ric Flair, Shawn and Kurt Angle, Shawn and Chris Jericho. None of those are main events. Undertaker, the list goes on and on, right? Triple H, not main event. I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't matter because it does. WrestleMania is such a unique spectacle. It'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll be okay. Fernando, though, says yes, it should main event one of the nights because it is advertised as such and it devalues the Rumble if the winner does not.
Okay, so
again,
then does
if
the Women's Rumble main event the other night?
Solve it.
But then does the winner of the Women's Rumble have to main event the other night too?
Yeah.
Guaranteed,
the
right?
Logic.
So
I mean, I think that should be the case anyway. Women
I
should have one of the nights.
Your 2 biggest matches.
I think those are 2 separate arguments there, though. I think there should be a women's main event. I don't think it necessarily has to be tied to the Rumble. The main event has never actually truthfully been tied to the Rumble. It happens often, and like it's nice when they put a nice little bow on it, and we get exactly what we asked for. That's cute and it's fun when it happens, but it's not like even with the phrasing, I don't know how much it even fixes it. Because
I would fix it. It would fix it right away.
But our
even-
brains are still attached to like, oh, if you win the Rumble, you need to be in the main event. Like, that's
But
a
new fans wouldn't be,
yeah.
and it's really new fans or
Yeah, the new
casual
fans
fans,
too,
lapsed
yeah.
fans who it
That's
throws
fair.
off.
It's fair. I don't know. There's just a lot of history of it not working out.
It
that
is.
way.
So us,
Right.
us with knowledge who've watched it for years know this, right? But
Yeah.
for a lot of, younger fans or maybe lapsed fans, they might have forgotten. They get told, oh, Jey Uso's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania. They're going to switch the TV back on April, whatever it is, and expect to see Jey Uso in the main event. No, he's, match 1 or night 1 or something like that. Like, I do understand the concern and the issue. Eric has a different perspective. He thinks Jey has earned the main event, but The Rock is going for Cody's soul. But Coby, what do you think about this one? Should Gunther and Jey Uso main event? We kind of know your answer from yesterday, but if you not a prediction, your actual thoughts now. Do you think Jey and Gunther should main event?
Right now, I don't. And the thing is opinions can change. And I think if you ask me in a month, maybe I'd go, okay, well, this is one of the hottest programs in the company. Yeah, maybe they do deserve it. But right now, as much as it's kind of the one of the only few matches getting kind of booked around and built for WrestleMania, because there's only 2 announced so far, but it is like every single week since the Royal Rumble, I've seen the crowd be electric for Jey Uso. I mean, to me, that justifies the Rumble victory, is the fact that the crowd is 100% there and behind Jey Uso. Should they win the main event? I don't think they should still. I think even if the move is Jey Uso wins the world title, I think it's a great way to open a show. Open the show in a high note. Because I saw what they did at Saturday night's main event. I saw them have the 15 or 13 or 15,000. I can't remember the number, but they had the tens of thousands. They had the 10,000s of people in the building, off on the edge of their seats, attached to the near falls. They had the crowd invested. And that's what they need to do at WrestleMania. What a better way to do it when the crowd is almost at its hottest, when the night kicks off. That to me makes sense. It's like Clark said, the opening match is arguably the 3rd and 4th best, most important matches, because you got to kick those shows off right. It is not a bad thing if Jey Uso beats Gunther in the opening match of night 1 or night 2 and he gets the win. He starts the night off hot for the fans in attendance, for the fans watching at home, and it's a feel-good moment. That's what matters at this point. I don't think it changes it if Jey Uso wins from the opener or in the main event. It maybe telegraphs it if Jey Uso is in and Gunther is a main event, because then you're most likely going to give Jey Uso the win. So I'd almost argue there's benefit to not having the main event, because then there's ambiguity. There's the illusion that maybe just Gunther ruins it. Maybe Gunther is the one that just ends the yeet movement. Then you got heat.
That is
I don't know. I think it telegraphs it if it's in the main event.
I agree with literally everything you said. I think it's equally as up in the air if it's the opener. I think night 1 opener, I even prefer over night 2. Start with legitimately the challenger, the B-side, technically, the Rumble winner, the underdog. Literally just as soon as it's like, okay, we're ready for WrestleMania, boom, yeet. That whole crowd go absolutely ballistic. And then put him on his skates, on his back foot the entire match. Have Gunther look that strong, and then, and not to get into early predictions, but out of the gates, give Jey that victory, yeet the entire arena one more time. Then maybe you go into one of those Hall of Fame sort of review things and get on with the show night 1. But like, what an electric way to open! What an electric way to open WrestleMania. Well, I just don't want someone to
exactly.
The
have
Hall
to
of
immediately.
Fame, the Hall of Fame things usually either before the main or the.
I
before the
understand that,
co-main.
but what I'm saying is I don't want someone to have to immediately follow the entire crowd doing the
They'll
yeet
have to.
when Jay
And
wins.
it'll be Sami
Wow.
Zayn and Karrion Cross. But the other thing
You're
though
the
is,
worst,
right,
Ben. Why do you have to be such a negative Nancy?
the other thing is on this one, I didn't mind what Saul suggested yesterday, actually. And that is that you end night one on the positive. Jey Uso wins. And this is the one thing that I'd say, and you could, by the way, equally do this in the women's division with Tiffany beating Charlotte, which is maybe why I do night one main event. But whatever happens night one main event, it needs to be a positive ending. Because I think everybody, at least right now, is on the same page that we don't know who it's going to be. But somebody is going to be turning heel in that main event alongside The Rock. And it is going to be heartbreak coming out of WrestleMania 41. Either Cody's going heel or someone's betraying Cody.
I think Cody is a heel, so it doesn't matter to me anyway. But I just, he's a bad guy. He's not a good person. It's all big, phony, big lie. It's all one big lie.
And on that note, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out Coby, shout out Clark, and shout out to everybody who's commented along today. We really do appreciate it. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow to talk a little bit of Monday Night Raw. And for the first time in what feels like months, we have got the Tuesday duo. Well, it's not Tuesday duo. The Tuesday trio of Shard, Geordie, and Chaos back together again. It is a reunion tomorrow, 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. As always, see you guys then. Peace.